It was a continuation of Obama's foreign policy. It was not new. She stepped away from we need to be accountable for ourselves and get out of these countries to pushing rhetoric that I felt was influenced by frustration with Biden for, like, to be frank, embarrassing her. I feel like it got personal. So she reacted in a way that would make him more upset and piss him off in a way that a conservative or libertarian would attack him.
Because so when you say embarrassing, do you mean because she endorsed him?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she endorsed him and took, obviously, an incredible amount of heat for it.
Yeah,
more than
I just want to be clear. I criticized her heavily. I don't know if you saw. I actually burned my Tulsi shirt because of that. And you know,
you burned yourself.
Yeah, and really that was my.
Oh, you LeBron.
No, I mean, I had my differences with her, obviously, over the course of the campaign. I thought her position on drone warfare I didn't agree with, you know, specifically because of the book Medea Benjamin wrote.
I agree with you.
You know, I believe one of her BDS votes also, I think, was you know, she went the wrong way on that. But really, the way that she endorsed Joe Biden, you know, I found that incredibly disheartening, especially when she did. I know that was kind of going into the COVID pandemic. But really, for me personally, it was the language that she used. In particular, he'll be guided by the spirit of aloha.
I know Vice President Biden and his wife, and I'm grateful to have called his son, Beau, a friend who also served in the National Guard. Now, although I may not agree with the Vice President on every issue, I know that he has a good heart, and he's motivated by his love for our country and the American people. I'm confident that he will lead our country guided by the spirit of aloha, respect, and compassion, and thus help heal the divisiveness that has been tearing our country apart. So today, I'm suspending my presidential campaign and offering my full support to Vice President Joe Biden in his quest to bring our country together.
Like, it was very political. She couldn't have believed that statement, right? Like, who would believe Joe Biden is guided by the spirit of aloha? That's just
so.
Absurd.
Can I give you some context?
Sure.
So here's it. So first of all, your criticisms of Tulsi endorsing Biden are 100% accurate. It was a very political endorsement. Now, dropping out the race, though, she was not willing to, especially how big of a deal people thought COVID was going to be at the time. She was not willing to put people's lives in danger to campaign in a race where they clearly made it at that point, despite her being one of the last three left, just her, Bernie, and Biden. Like, she knew that they were not willing to let her win, and she wasn't going to endanger people's lives by staying in the race. And because of the economic situation that was clearly impending, she was not going to take people's money, who, of course, because of how much they supported her, they were more than willing to give, no matter what they knew was coming, because of how much they believed in what she was doing. She couldn't let it in her conscience. Now, the full-throated endorsement, I think she should have did it, but she said she always keeps her word. And she said, if I don't win, then I will endorse the Democratic primary candidate, whoever does win. And
but, like, couldn't you have done it, like, sarcastically? Like,
I agree, bro. I'm at the same level of petty as you are. But
I don't understand the Tulsi Gabbard who wrote the tweet to Hillary Clinton that she's the queen of warmongers. I don't get how that Tulsi Gabbard says Joe Biden will be guided by the spirit of aloha.
So this is what
it just seems like two different people.
Remember, she was very, very close to Joe Biden's late son, right? He's not Hunter Biden, nor is he Joe Biden. In fact, everything I've read about him has always actually been really, really good. And Tulsi knows him personally before he passed away, obviously. And I always say, yeah, we never heard a lot about Beau, other than, like, him dying from cancer. And then all of a sudden we hear about how sad it is that he died from cancer because he was such a great guy. But the reason you don't hear a lot about him is probably because he was a good guy. Because we know how that usually works. If he was a shitbag like Hunter while he was alive, everybody in the mainstream media would be coming to defend him, like they've done Hunter and like they've done Joe. If he was involved in the Ukraine stuff to the degree that Hunter and Joe was, why haven't we seen his name pop up at any of the emails? If he was involved in the China stuff like Hunter and Joe were, why don't we see his name pop up? You know what I'm saying? Because this is stuff that was going on while he was still alive. And so maybe he had a much better soul, and Tulsi was hoping maybe she didn't know Biden personally because she wasn't in office until like the latter half of that term. So she didn't know a person like that. She was hoping that maybe something was like Beau, or trying to pay respect to Beau without doing it, because she wasn't going to drag her friends. Max Blumenthal, actually on your show, he talks about like he has his disagreements with his father. Me and him had a personal conversation too. He's like, bro, he's like, you know how I feel about my dad's, but he said I still got to sit at the dinner table with him. He still took care of me. He provided for me. He put me in a position where I can do what I do now, and I don't have to worry about, and he still accepts her, right? He still invites him to dinner, because at a certain point, humanity is just more important. And I think she didn't want to. She felt like she might have been degrading Beau's good name by attacking his dad or coming at him anytime. Because that was actually the one person she didn't go at on stage. If you've noticed, in the debate stage, she never went at him like that. And everybody else felt, which is funny that he ended up winning, right? Because everyone else knew he was the weakest link. Everybody else tried to take him out. But Tulsi didn't, but she was willing to take out everybody else. But I think that's because I understand the way she processes things, and human relationships are more important than political cool points. And obviously, strategically, that isn't always wise. And like when and we all kind of have those type of little things about us if we have some humanity in us. So that's the context around it. People don't know how close she was to Beau and she told me he was a great guy. Like she told me that, but also given the evidence, I would assume that he's at bare minimum not nowhere near as corrupt as Hunter and Joe Biden are. And she wasn't like, I would never, no matter what I think about one of my late grandfather's friends, and I do have some feelings about them at this point because all things gone down in my family since then, I would never say anything negative publicly about anybody he was personally close to, even if I have a personal issue with them, because I just feel like Niko, just let it go. That's what he would say to me. And that's how I think she felt too. And that's that part speculation, but I feel like that's what it is. Because you notice what happened after. Bernie, I mean, to be frank, was on his jock, goes in campaigns for him, even runs illegitimately in a Wisconsin race that he had no intention on winning, just so a Democrat who lost anyway would get the the state Supreme Judgeship, and he lost anyway. It was funny about it, but he admitted it. And I had told people when Tulsi had announced that she had quit or was going to quit, I was like, hold up, y'all do know that Bernie is done. And because I was friends with people at the very top of the campaign, and they were like, that's not true. She should have endorsed Bernie. I'm like, no, Bernie is done. Tulsi knew this already. Nina knew this. They had publicly, even at that point, stopped collecting money, and people didn't catch that. Because hell, I don't know if you had the text messages on, Lord Jesus, that's the worst decision I ever made, was to give the Bernie Sanders campaign my phone number. I'm still getting text messages from Bernie. But they stopped collecting money. They had already told people that they were paying them out through December. Don't worry about it. Like, this is all happening about this. Once again, you can't just listen to people just be talking on fucking camera all the time, people, because they don't know this shit, because they don't talk to these people. They don't have those type of relationships. But we were close with both Bernie's campaign and with Tulsi's campaign, because we tried to give everybody the respect, and we wanted a fair race, and we wanted the movement to come out on top more than somebody's individual clout to come out on top using those individual brands. But we knew he was done. That's why she endorsed Joe Biden. Why would she? That was her friend. Now, granted, I will say this. If she was pissed and wanted to be petty towards Bernie, she had every goddamn right to be. I would have been like, oh, you mean like you had my back on The View whenever they ask you about the Dems cheating me? And you said, well, they have to whittle the field down. Sometimes it's a big field. After she defended, like, she would have every reason to, because Bernie threw her under the bus, and it hurt her to no degree, but she never publicly lashed out at him at all. And so, but yeah, she didn't endorse Bernie because Bernie was losing, but everybody was more so mad. They were mad she endorsed Biden, but that was Tulsi supporters like you and I. That's what we were saying. Like, why? No, he ain't gonna aloha shit. Right. We're gonna say aloha to single payer health care. We're gonna say aloha to any chance of peace. We're gonna say aloha to this economy.
It kind of sucks for her. Hello. I mean, honestly, and I think she kind of shot herself in the foot to some degree too. Like, even though she was bound to endorse Biden, again, just the way that she did it, I think personally, like, it did alienate a lot of her supporters who saw it as a slap in the face. And at the same time, it didn't really endear her to liberals at all. I mean, they still to this day say that she's a Russian asset. So it just kind of, alienated her really from her audience more than anything.
And I think that's a social intelligence thing, right? Beyond anything else. It's at times Tulsi lacked the ability, which is why she had advisors, so sometimes she's hard-headed, so she just do what she wants to. She literally, that tweet that she sent out, that sounded like she was defending Joe Biden, but she was really attacking Kamala Harris, but it was worded weird. It was about some identity politics shit that she ended up being right about, by the way, with that little girl was me bullshit. And Tulsi called her out. Like, she left like for 5 minutes to go to the bathroom, and then everybody's phone is blowing up. We're like, what the fuck happened? They're like, yo, why didn't somebody stop her from saying it? We're like, bruh, she went to the bathroom and we came back and there was a nuclear bomb went off. Like, no pun intended, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of person she is. And I guess it's gotten her pretty far so far. So I guess she didn't feel that much of a need to change, but sometimes she can't, she thinks that people are supposed to see her as a human separate from a politician and be as forgiving and as well-spirited as she is, or me, or you might be, or her family, or her campaign, because her campaign was they were like a family. But unfortunately, we know that's not how this game goes, and you have to account for the long-term damage. In that case, I agree with you. My word personally is based off of other people's actions. I no longer feel the need to keep my quote-unquote word when your intention had always been to deceive me and take advantage of me, and I found that out. I'm no longer bound to that. Where I'm gonna do what the hell I feel like for me. And Tulsi is, she's just very principled, and she wasn't going to step away from that. But like every single one of my friends, especially in this profession, I will have my disagreements with her, but I still 100% believe she was the only genuine person outside of obviously Mr. Gravel that was genuine and one just really had the best policies at the end of the day. And you've talked about this a lot when you were defending her. She was the only one on stage that everything she had talked about, you could Google HR, blah, 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 and there was a bill about it out already. That's all I needed to see to know that she was about it. And that's what made her, if she was as bad as some Bernie supporters had paid trial to be, then why was she getting attacked by the mainstream media worse than Biden was? Or excuse me, not Biden, Bernie was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that you could see wherever the mainstream media points their sights, that's the most dangerous person to the establishment.